breezy day, but at Chester we start with the 150 race. Well, Alan Munro's had an up-and-down week so far. He had a long price winner for Paul Cole, but he was also beaten recently on a hot pot for Paul, and he received some adverse publicity. But Alan shrugged that off and was back in form at Chester yesterday afternoon. He was riding in the first for Clive Britton. Doesn't often ride for Clive, but he was on board the favourite here. Al Rami was sent off the 11-10 favourite, but my word, didn't he have to work hard.
In the centre in the orange colours with the black spotted cap there is 5-7 as they sort themselves out going to the first turn. Knoll is back in the field. Al Rama's second last now and Gaming last of all. Leaving the 6 behind them. Good battle up front and Call Me a Dreamer just shading Shams who holds the rail. 2 or 3 lengths further back then on the inside is 5-7, followed then by Knoll. Half a length Al Ramas and 6 then to Gaming. 4.5 out. Good battle up front. Shams just holding sway now on the inside by a head. On the outside just starting to drop back now is Call Me a Dreamer. Further back in the field then starting to make ground out wide is 5-7. Knoll is pushing into the picture as well. Ramos last of that group and a long gap then to Gaming tailing out to last. Running down towards the 3 furlong marker now and Shams sets sail for the judge. 1.5 lengths in front. 5-7 trying hard to bridge the gap. Knoll is coming into it as well in company with Al Ramos making his run around the outside and they're about 8 lengths in front of the rest. Coming to the turn now, 2 furlongs out. Al Ramos sweeping around the outside. Races up now to tackle Shams. 5-7 there in the centre. Knoll just in behind them. They're a good 8 lengths to the rest. Straightening up just over a furlong out. It's Shams on the inside being tackled now by in the centre. 5-7 who's going home strongly. Al Ramos on the outside with another effort now, but it's 5-7 with 100 yards to go. 5-7 in front from Al Ramos trying hard on the outside. 5-7 in front. Al Ramos flying very tight. 5-7 Al Ramos. Knoll in third placing and further back then Shams.
First number 1, Al Ramis, the 11-10 favourite, and second number 2, 5-7 at 10-1. On to the 2:20, a 2-year-old event over 6 furlongs. Number 3, Far But Near, was an absentee, leaving a field of 6. One jockey change. Number 2, Darling Miss Daisy, was the mount of G. Carter. Joint favourites on the off at 5-2, with numbers 5, Chetino, and 7, Yafil.
And the starter's orders, they're off.
Way to a pretty fair start too. Jigarack first to begin near the inside from Jettino, who's up in second early. Then Phil settling on the inside of Arctic Appeal. Half a length further back then Darling Miss Daisy, a gap of 5 lengths to Princess Dectra as they go through the first furlong. Good battle up front now, and Chetino on the outside just shading Jigarack, who holds the inside. Half a length Arctic Appeal just behind them with the noseband, followed then by Phil. A length away then Darling Miss Daisy as they pass the half mile, and 6 lengths to Princess Dectra. Chetino on the outside just showing out from Jigarack, who's under pressure now. Arctic Appeal with a noseband, green colours starting to move up. Darling Miss Daisy's now coming into it out wider with the white sleeves, and Phil just behind them. A packing field as they race to the turn, a gap to Princess Dectra. Arctic Appeal off the track has taken a narrow lead now from Chetino, tackled though by Darling Miss Daisy out wider. Phil's under the whip, then Jigarack as they swing for home now. They've got just over a furlong and a half to go, and it's Arctic Appeal boxing on well in the centre. Darling Miss Daisy with a white face throwing out a challenge. Phil taken out wise, running on. Chetino's beaten inside the furlong now. Darling Miss Daisy got to the lead now from Arctic Appeal, tackled immediately though by Phil, who's going home much the better. Phil grabs the lead now and drawing away. Phil goes on to beat Darling Miss Daisy. Arctic Appeal third and Princess Dectra fourth.
First number 7, Yafil, the 5-2 joint favourite, and second number 2, Darling Miss Daisy at 5-1. On to the 250, a handicap over 6 furlongs. All 16 ran in this and there were no changes. Joint favourites on the off at 13-2 were numbers 4, Gorinsky, and 16, Presenter.
And the starter's orders, they're off.
Way to a pretty fair start. Anchor's Princess, Joe Sugden away smartly from Precentor in the early stages. Going fast, Gorinsky to try and head them all off. Tianaco up there as well with Crystal Jack just in behind them as they sort themselves out. Able Jet is beaten for speed early. Veloce back in the centre of the field as they run now along the back of the course, having covered 2 furlongs. Great battle for the lead. Gorinsky up there on the outside of Joe Sugden, and just behind them is Crystal Jack. Then follows Abom Swift out wide with the striped sleeves. McFarlane right off the track. Just in behind them, Anchor is Princess. Further back in the field, then Able Jet, Tianaco, Precentor scrubbed up the fence. Out wide, then it's Breezy Day as they run down now past the 3 furlong marker. And it's a great battle up in front. Joe Sugden on the inside of Crystal Jack, and just behind them, Gorinsky McFarlane. Anchor's Princess on the inside. Next is boxing on fairly well. But as they come around the turn now, anybody's race. Crystal Jack near the inside from McFarlane. Joe Sugden, Anchor's Princess looking to get through. Breezy Days out wide. Further back in the field then from Sea Devil, and then Ichtishaf. They're homeward bound a furlong out. McFarlane strikes the lead from Crystal Jack. Breezy Days the danger on the outside, and Precentor getting up on the fence. Breezy Day strikes the lead. McFarlane fighting back from Precentor. Ichtishaf, but Breezy Day on the outside is too strong and beats McFarlane. Ichtishaf third, Precentor fourth.
First number 7, Breezy Day at 16-1. Second number 6, McFarlane, also 16-1. Third number 8, Ichtishaf at 14-1. And fourth number 16, Precentor, the 13-2 joint favourite. The next at 3:20 was a handicap for 3-year-olds over 2 miles. All 9 ran here, 1 jockey change. Number 6, K-Fat, was the mount of G. Carter. Well, K-Fat and number 2, Ensconce, were both sent off joint favourites at 7-2.
He's locked away, they're ready.
And the starter's orders, they're off.
Al Roy was awkwardly away, doesn't want to go early, gets a couple of slaps with the whip to try and get with him. On settling down, though, John Shaw began well up there with As Whamed, and tucked away behind them Scalpum on the inside there of Ensconce. K-Fart there in the centre from Mrs. Barton. Further back is Castle Merlin, settling on the outside of Al Roy, and Shoof is trapped out a bit wide as they race towards the first turn. The leader is John Shaw by a length and a half or so on settling down from As Whamed, just on the outside Ensconce, moving into a handy position. Tucked away behind them is Scalpum. Further back in the field then at this stage K-Fart from El Roy. Towards the rear is Shoof, and a length and a half then to Castle Merlin, and about 8 or 10 lengths covers the field as they race over the side of the course the first time. John Shaw shows the way from Mrs. Barton, booting up on the outside now of Ensconce, who's tucked away on the fence, in the centre I should say, in the yellow colours. Just behind them in fourth position with the red sleeves and cap is As Whamed. Further back then Scalpum, tucked away on the inside of K-Fart. Back in the field is Shoof, followed by Al Roy, and last of all is Castle Merlin as they run down towards the home turn the first time. John Shaw shows the way by a length or so to on the outside Mrs. Barton. 3 parts away then in the centre Ensconce, who's in very handy touch with them as they swing into the straight, followed further back then by Scalpum, getting up on the inside of As Whamed. Further back is Shoof, followed then by Al Roy, tucked away on the inside of K-Fart, who's shuffled back to second last, and Castle Merlin last of all in a packing field. Only about 6 or 7 lengths covers them as they come up the straight now with just over a circuit to travel. John Shaw showing the way in the white cap by half a length to Mrs. Barton. 3 parts away Scalpum, tucked away on the inside there of As Whamed. Out wider Ensconce, who's very handy. Shoof on the outside, 4 off the rail, followed then by Al Roy. Further back is K-Fart, and last of all Castle Merlin as they're back where they started now, less than 7 to travel. It's John Shaw by a length or so to Mrs. Barton. A length away Scalpum on the inside of As Whamed, and the tempo steps up here. A length then to Ensconce, who's dropped back slightly from K-Fart, taking closer order. Then on the outside Shoof from Al Roy, and still Castle Merlin at the tail of the field. Racing towards the 6th, John Shaw defying them by a length and a half or so to Mrs. Barton, pushed along now. Ensconce getting closer on the outside of Scalpum, then K-Fart going forward in a hurry. Back in the field then at this stage, dropping right back as Whamed drops back to last, passed by Shoof, Al Roy, and also Castle Merlin. 4.5 out, it's still John Shaw, but Ensconce getting closer on the outside now. Starts to move up, followed by Mrs. Barton. Just in behind them as they pass the half mile is Shoof, followed then by K-Fart, ridden along. Back in the field at this stage is Al Roy from Castle Merlin Scalpum, but it's Ensconce who strikes the lead over the side now as they run towards the 3. Ensconce sprints for home, a length and a half in front. Shoof out after the leader now from K-Fart. Mrs. Barton has given ground. John Shaw's dropped right back towards the rear of the field. Ensconce the leader, coming to the 2 though from Shoof on the outside. K-Fart is hard ridden. Then Mrs. Barton a gap to Castle Merlin, but it's Ensconce who leads them for home now. K-Fart trying to get up on the inside to throw out a challenge, is running on well from Shoof, and further back is Mrs. Barton. They come inside the final furlong now, and K-Fart now getting a bit weary, rolls out there, but tackled immediately by Shoof. Ensconce can't go on. Shoof strikes the lead now from K-Fart. Then Ensconce trying to raise another effort, but Shoof takes the lead now with 50 yards to go and is drawing clear. Shoof goes on to win from K-Fart. Ensconce is third, and fourth Mrs. Barton.
First number 3, Shoof at 7 to 1. Second number 6, K-Fat, the 7 to 2 joint favourite. And third number 2, Ensconce, joint favourite also at 7 to 2. Onto the 350, a handicap of an extended mile and a quarter. All 17 ran here, a couple of jockey changes. Number 7, Fox Chapel, was the mount of M. Wood. And 17, Princess Roxanne, was ridden by O. Piers, who was claiming £7. Number 10, Cheeky Pot, was sent off the 9 to 2 favourite.
And they're running down near the inside. Persuasius first away from Tenoda, and wider out then is Falcon's Dawn. In the centre, 2 Magic Secret, followed then by Nakora Bestrea, tucked away on the inside. Out wider is Princess Roxanne. Charging down the straight the first time, going through the first furlong. Falcon's Dawn on the outside of Persuasius, then Tenoda third on the inside of Sarah Clare. Princess Roxanne is next from Katie's Lad, tacked away on the inside of No Candles Tonight, who's just easing out a bit there. On to Thunderbug, trapped wide is Cheeky Pot, behind them Nakora Bestrea. Then Rose Glen from Mardessa, back in the field from Would You Rather. Then Fox Chapel towards the rear with Scenic Dancer, Magic Secret ridden from behind second last, and Surrey Dancer last of all. Up the side of the course now, 6.5 out. Falcon's Dawn on the outside of Persuasius. They're having a good battle up in front. In third placing then on the outside is Sarah Clare, followed then by Tenoda, tucked away on the inside of Princess Roxanne. A length away then No Candles Tonight from Cheeky Pot. Further back then is Katie's Lad from Nakora Bestrea, the inside, then Mardessa. Back in the field is Fox Chapel at this stage in company with Rose Glen, Surrey Dancer, Magic Secret third last, followed then by Scenic Dancer, and towards the rear of the field is Thunderbug. Only about 10 lengths covers the field as they race now towards the half mile, and Princess Roxanne deep off the track now has gone up to take over from Falcon's Dawn. Would You Rather's coming into it now with a spotted cap on the outside as they run down past the 3, goes into second now. Falcon's Dawn still there, followed then by boxing on as Surrey Dancer. They've kicked right away from the others. Magic Secret running on from a fairway back, then Mardessa back on the inside. No Candles Tonight and Tenoda. But still it's Princess Roxanne they have to catch. A length and a half in front, passing the 2 as they come to the turn now. Surrey Dancer on the outside, followed then by back in the field Falcon's Dawn, followed by Magic Secret. They're homeward bound. Princess Roxanne in front. Surrey Dancer trying hard to wear her down. They're 3 lengths in front of Falcon's Dawn, Magic Secret. They've got just over a half furlong to go. Princess Roxanne holding on from Surrey Dancer. Finishing fast as Rose Glen, but Princess Roxanne has got this shot to pieces. Princess Roxanne goes on to win from Surrey Dancer. Rose Glen third. Katie's Lad gets up to make it interesting for fourth.
First number 17, Princess Roxanne at 14 to 1. Second number 12, Surrey Dancer, 16 to 1. Third number 4, Rose Glen, 11 to 1. And fourth number 5, Katie's Lad, 12 to 1. On to the last then at 4:20, a 2-year-old maiden over an extended 7 furlongs. All 7 ran here and there were no changes. Number 5, Raleigh, was sent off favourite at 11 to 10.
Running now in the final event, and Neltegrity first to begin in the centre by a couple of lengths to Affirm's Destiny on the outside. Up there on the inner is Raleigh in the box seat, followed then by Ming Blue deep off the track. Further back in the field then is Barton Pride, pretty wide as they go to the first turn. Towards the rear of the field is Sweet Noble on the inside with Blimper's Disco second last. Passing the 6 furlong marker now, and it's Neltegrity, the leader, with a noseband by a length and a half or so to Ming Blue up on the outside of Raleigh. Half a length away there in the centre in the white and green colours is Affirm's Destiny as they head along the back of the course. Barton Pride back in the field, followed by Blimper's Disco, who's together with Sweet Noble at the tail of the field. Running over towards the half mile now, and it's still Neltegrity showing the way from Ming Blue in the yellow colours the outside. Raleigh sitting in behind them on the fence, the shortest way home, followed then by Affirm's Destiny. Barton Pride is next, out pretty deep on the track. Next is Blimper's Disco and a couple of lengths to Sweet Noble as they work down now towards the home turn. They leave the 3 behind them, and it's Neltegrity on the inside of Ming Blue. Affirm's Destiny moving up in the centre, followed by Raleigh, who's snookered on the fence at this stage. Sweet Noble coming into it quickly from Blimper's Disco and Barton Pride. Only about 3 lengths covers them as they homeward bound now. A furlong and a half left to go, and Neltegrity on the inside. Raleigh gets the run and now out after the leader. They've kicked away now from Affirm's Destiny, and Sweet Noble's running on sweetly. Inside the final furlong, Raleigh took the lead from Neltegrity. Sweet Noble's run on from a long way back, but it's Raleigh who's going to complete a double here for Clive Breton and Alan Munro. Raleigh goes on to win comfortably. Neltegrity second, Sweet Noble a good third, and Ming Blue fourth.
First number 5, Raleigh, the 11-10 favourite, and second number 4, Integrity, at 33-1. Well, that completes our look back at Chester. Coming next, a complete review of the meeting from Nottingham.